Stella.
I'm Madeline Emery, and I am in my home on Sadeas, or Pender Island, in British Columbia. Joe was my partner 14 years, and he suicided, and that was in 2008. And that was a complete shock to the system, and it sort of sent me into another, it was like an explosion, and I had to pick up the pieces, basically, was how I would describe it. And it was interesting because I didn't realize what he was thinking in the few days before, even a couple weeks before he passed. And he was writing a story of some kind that I don't have access to because he burnt it, but he was telling me about it a little bit, and it was somehow relating to the allegory of the cave with Plato. And he explained it to me, what he understood, and as far as I understand, the story goes that there are people chained together in a cave, and the only thing they see is images on the wall that are projected by the flames, and that people behind them who are in charge of them or in some way are creating the images. So the people see life through these shadow images, projections. And one person realized that they could take the chains off and left the cave. And they realized that there's this amazing world out there, and things are completely different, not exactly what, they have their own ideas, they have their own visions. And so they went back to say to people, come out, you know, there's more to life. And nobody did. So my understanding of that, from how it was explained, is that like there is a different way of being in the world, and once you understand that, you can't go back. And that being is seeing the beauty, discovering the magnificence of nature and the complexity and the interconnectedness. For me, that's my vision. Moving through life, if I keep that in mind, that helps guide my decisions. And obviously, I'm not perfect, but it's a guideline, a guidepost, or it's the light that I follow. So that was part of my exploration of healing, was having that piece of information and sort of considering the philosophy in that. And so I also work with plants a lot, and I've learned a lot through plants. And Alive and Dying with them is, I saw it first in bouquets, and this was before Joe passed, and I was noticing the beauty of the plant transforming in a vase cut from its host plant, and witnessing it transform completely into sometimes a seed, produce a seed. So to me, that was incredible, with understanding that the life force is still contained in this plant, even though it's cut. So the life force that we feel in our bodies is not just physical. That's a big element of it. The unseen, multidimensional forces that are at play, that the animals are still connected into this, and many people, our society in general, has been disconnected from this knowledge or remembering.
You see the heron?
Yeah.
You got red cheeks? Good.
So I kind of...
What you got there?
Doses.
Yummy! Are you curious about the camera? I think you are.
The experience of loss has been my greatest teacher, and having to actually remember who I am as a person, as an individual, rather than being part of a couple or joining into another relationship. And to me, that's quite important as far as the like anchor of life is linked to who I am at my core, and it's a practice. Going towards those things as you're being alive and in your experience of being who you are will resonate out. And if somehow when death comes then feels like that did the best that I could, I guess. And in the case of Joe leaving so early, somehow that was meant to be a part of our story. Like, we were just very close, and you know, maybe if he didn't die in that way, he may have passed some other way, because that was what was meant to be within our story. And that links into some of my beliefs about a soul and the soul's journey, and coming into each other's lives to support each other or help them learn. And then again, returning to spirit, that soul will be there. That's part of my belief. So there's this reunion. And also, I've come to learn that these beings don't actually leave. They're still available and accessible. So that's a case in point as far as maybe offering comfort to if a person feels lonely, or if I feel lonely, or any kind of feeling that comes from the mind and the heart, because the heart knows. The mind thinks and the heart knows. Yeah, and we feel it in our body, that what is true. And what is true is true for each person on their own terms. And when you're guided by the heart, then there's no harm.
The levels.
There's one that fell out. 3 of Cups. 2 more. Ace of Wands and 9 of Cups. The beginning of a new project.
Oh. Yeah, we like that.